Becky and Derrick show.
Hi, I'm Kennedy and I'm subbing for Derrick.
If you like our interview, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and comment. Today we are here with
Amanda.
Miss Amanda. What do you do?
I am a store owner for people who need supplies for knitting or crochet or spinning in case they want to make their own yarn. I help them come up with ideas to make different kinds of clothes or blankets or even different toys.
Okay, I have a question. How did you get started with the store?
I started working here for one of the previous owners, and I worked here because I've always been fascinated with making things with my own hands. And she helped me learn a lot of different crafts that I could discover and play with and come up with my own ideas, and that was a lot of fun for me. So I just kept doing it.
How long have you been working here?
I was working here part-time for about 3 years, and it became my store about 1.5 years ago.
What do you like about yarning?
That's a good word, yarning. I love that word. I like all of the color. You've got so many different colors. If your favorite color is purple, you can make purple things. If your favorite color is green, you can put green in something or put purple with the green and make it all nice and pretty. And no one else has done what you're doing. You don't have to wait for the store to come up with a shirt or a dress that you like. You can make it yourself.
That's cool.
Speaking of stores,
Yes.
What is your store called?
My store is called Gate City Yarns. I'm downtown in Greensboro, North Carolina.
Do you have like a website or a Facebook page that we can contact you?
I do have a Facebook page, yes, Gate City Yarns. I try to put information up about I take pictures of what people have made and they come in and they show me, or I will talk about some of the classes we've got coming up. Sometimes I just see really cool things and I'm like, look, isn't it great? And I show a lot of people, so it's a great thing about the internet.
What do you picture yourself in 10 years?
Oh, I hope I'm still doing this. I see so many people every day. They either get stuck on something and they need help, or they've come up with an idea and they want to talk about it and I listen, or they're talking about different colors and they want to find a color that goes good and doesn't clash. And I've seen so many really cool things that I would never come up with, and that's what makes all of us special. Everybody comes up with their own way of making art. That's a lot of fun.
What's your favorite type of fabric or, yeah?
My favorite is probably wool. I like wool because it will keep you warm when it's cold, and it'll keep you cool when it's hot, which a lot of people don't know. It's an insulating kind of fabric. So the sheep, when he's wearing his wool in the middle of summer, he feels just fine because the wool protects him from the sunshine. And I like that because I stay cold all year. So I want to be warm all year.
That's cool. What kind is there?
What, all the different types?
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. You've got all kinds of different animals' hairs that you can get. There is wool from a sheep. There's alpaca. There is rabbit. There is, there's bamboo, which is a plant. There's cotton, which is also a plant. That's one most people are familiar with because it's probably what your socks are made out of. There's man-made materials like polyester or nylon. They stretch really well, which helps. I don't know. If you can get it off of an animal, I've seen camel. You can get the hair off of a camel and you can make yarn out of that too. That's really fun.
Like, what time did you start the store, or how long have you been working with yarn?
I started crocheting when I was 6 years old. My mother had taken us to a potluck at church. And I was the oldest in my family. I was 6 years old. My brothers were 5, 3, and 2. And my mother had her hands full. I didn't know it at the time. I got to sit at the grown-up table. This was so much fun. So I'm going to sit at the grown-up table, and I'm going to say please, and I'm going to say thank you, and I'm going to be polite, and I'm not going to talk unless somebody talks to me first. And I'm going to get to listen in on what all these grown-ups are talking about. It was really boring. But I got to listen. And we were eating, and one of the older ladies that I was sitting with got done with her plate, but she wasn't through talking to people. So she went and she put her plate away, came back, and reached into her bag. She pulled out a teeny little hook and some string and made a snowflake right there in front of me. And I'm like, what? How did you, can I do that? I want to do that. Can you please help me do that? So I'm 6 years old, and she's showing me how to hold my yarn and my hook and make all these little stitches so that I can make a snowflake.
So that's when you started loving yarn?
That's when because I realized that I don't know how to draw. I'm really bad at drawing, but I can take string and I can make other pictures with string that people can't make. That's a lot of fun.
What kind of colors do you have?
Oh, all colors. I've got purples and greens, and I can think of 6 different greens. Got black and white and red and yellow. There's gold and blue and you name it. You name it, we can probably find it.
Do you have primary colors all in one?
There are colors that you can get all different kinds in one skein of yarn, yes. There are people who dye the yarn, and they get to choose what colors go on the yarn. And that is a whole other craft right there, learning how to dye and make sure that you get the colors you like.
What's your favorite type of color, or do you like dyeing them and like mixing them together?
I do like mixing them together. If I'm making something and I want the stitches to be fancy, I'll just do one color, because that way you notice the stitches. If I'm doing something that's just a plain boring stitch over and over and over again, I'll do a lot of different colors, because that way the colors are what's fancy. So you can notice one or you can notice the other. It's kind of hard to do both at the same time because you get a headache.
Do all the stuff like do the same kinds cost the same even though they're different colors?
No. Depending on how hard the material is to get, some of them can be very expensive. Cashmere comes from a certain kind of goat. It's the softest part of the goat, just around the neck. And it is very expensive to get because it's just that one small section. The rest of the goat is going to be cheaper than just that one small part of hair. And that's why it's so hard to get enough of it to make one thing. How hard it is to get the plant processed for cotton. Cotton's not too hard to do. Bamboo, though, bamboo has to go through a special process, and that tends to be a little bit more expensive. But the colors don't usually change the price of it. It's just how hard they had to work to get it into a yarn they liked. Does that make sense?
Is this like a generational store? Like, did it start with family, or did...
I don't think so, no. There was a lady who had 3 different stores in 3 different cities, and she was running all 3 of them, and she was really, really tired. So she did that for quite a while and then found someone who was willing to keep it going and take over from her. I think that a lot of them are can be family stores. This one, however, has been carried by different owners who just all share a love of making things, all sorts of things.
What was the highest thing that you ever had here?
The highest thing I've ever had here. Most expensive?
Yeah.
I did have a skein of yarn once that was made by hand from a village in Afghanistan, and it is cashmere. And for one skein of yarn, it was $60. Just one.
Was it because it was like hard to get?
It was hard to get, and it was made by hand and not by machine. So someone had to work really hard, and it took them almost a week to make that.
Do you still have that?
I do still have it. I can show it to you later. Yeah.
What kind of things do you like to make?
That depends on my mood. Sometimes I want to make socks. Sometimes I want to make hats. Sometimes I want to make a blanket, usually when it's really cold. And I'm cold, because that way I stay warm. Sometimes I want to make yarn, just yarn, because I don't have a plan for it and I just want to play with the colors. My mood will change, kind of like how when you are in the mood for spaghetti, and sometimes you're in the mood for meatloaf, and sometimes you're in the mood for fried chicken, and sometimes, yeah, you don't want to have the same thing every day. So I will change what I want to make based on how I'm feeling.
Like, what was the one of your favorites that you made? Did you already ask?
One of my favorites, I'm actually wearing it. This right here, this was a cape. I'll show you. I knitted this. It took me about 2 weeks to make. It's just one long piece that's been tied. And then I felted a decoration along the outside edge to kind of put some color into it to make it pretty.
It looks like you could make it like a skirt.
You could. You could do skirts. But yeah. And I stay cold, so I usually find something that I can put on and wear with almost any of my outfits. And this is the one I picked today.
This might be a long question, but
Okay.
how do you make the yarn?
The yarn, if it's from an animal, the animal's hair grows a certain length. And when it gets to be about, usually once a year, they will cut it all off. They'll give the animal a haircut. And then that fleece off of the animal will get washed so that it's nice and clean, because the animals don't take baths like we do. They'll comb it out because they don't have brushes or combs, and it's all tangled and matted up. Get it all nice and fluffy. And then they will take those hairs and they will twist them together, and that's how you make your yarn. They will overlap the different hairs so that you've got one long piece. Does that make sense?
Do you do refunds?
Yes. Yes, I do. If I have someone who does not, if they had an idea for a project, I try to help them find the thing that they want to make first, something that suits really well. But if they're not happy with it, or if they want to try a different color, then yeah, we can talk about different ways of making sure that they get what they wanted made.
Do you offer classes, and if yes, what classes do you offer?
I teach 5 different crafts. I teach how to spin, so if you want to make yarn yourself. I teach how to knit. I teach how to crochet. I teach how to weave in case you want to make cloth. And I teach how to felt, which is a way of shrinking the fibers down so that they're stuck together in certain ways. Make a picture. Kind of like the piece here behind me. The classes can be different prices depending on how long it takes and what equipment comes with them. Some of them can be kind of expensive.
Who made that?
That was made by one of our local artists. His name is Jerry O'Donnell. He has been a weaver for about 50 years, and for the past 12, he said he fell in love with felting because he wanted to do more abstract work, more images, rather than just line by line by line by line. So he's been teaching felting here for several years.
So it's kind of like art plus felting, or
Yeah. Anything you make with your hands, whether it's cooking or carving or drawing or knitting, anything that you do with your hands is art. There's no wrong way to do art. You might not get it to match with the picture what's in your head, but that doesn't mean anybody else knows about that. They can't see it. Sure, it turned out just like you wanted it to.
But you're right, that was a long question. In your own words, what kind of advice would you give to kids?
There's a very good feeling that you get from making something with your own hands. And if you make something that's going to be given as a gift to keep somebody warm and safe and protected, that also feels really good. So making something with your own hands is worth trying just to see what you can come up with yourself, because what you can come up with, nobody else will do. It's going to be unique.
That's it for today, guys. Be sure to like our interview, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, comment. And if you want to become a sponsor, go to our website, rockyandderrickshow.com. And be sure to vote for me on our website and not Derrick. Who would you vote for?
You, obviously.